Travis.
Yeah.
We're continuing our 80s theme this week.
Woo!
Oh my god, get the hairspray, get the sequence pants, get it all, Travis. The disco balls, everything.
Wait, sequins pants or pants in a sequence?
You know what? I want a sequence of pants of sequence pants. I want sequence squared pants.
That sounds worrisome.
I don't know where I think the dream's collapsing.
Yeah, I think I agree.
And welcome to the UGO podcast, Unapologetic Geek Out, where you can come geek out with us every week and never have to be sorry about it. I am, of course, your host, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and here's my fellow god of the pod, although you're the god of thunder this time, I think, around.
Right?
Yeah, you gotta be one of the Asgardians ones. I'd pick Thor.
I'd much rather be the goddess of death right now.
Goddess of death? Okay, yeah, I don't know, that makes me feel a little bit weird, but, you know.
Accept it.
You accept it. That's my buddy, Travis.
Travis, indeed. That's me.
So today's episode, yes, we saw Thor Ragnarok just yesterday, so we're pretty high off of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to give our whole full review. But before that, we'd like to bring you, of course, the geeky news of the week and just, you know, the random bullshit. But before we even get into that, we got to do the announcements.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, if you'd like to help out the podcast, we would love said help. And one of the ways you can help is by giving us a 5-star review on iTunes. We love them. Makes us feel special. Makes me feel special. I love it. And I love it so much, I'll read whatever goes in those review boxes on the air for word for word.
Four
words, but only if they're 4 words. Sequence of
exactly
4 words.
Is this some kind of haiku?
But no, there's also another catch, is they gotta be 5 stars. I ain't reading any of those 4-star reviews, no matter how good they're worded. Okay, I have standards, and the standard is 5. So yes, that is a great free way to help us with the podcast. Thank you so much. Of course, you can also subscribe to us on iTunes, check out some of our back catalog. You want to message us, keep up with us, follow us on Facebook, maybe give us a like while you're there. You can follow us on Twitter at UGO Podcast or Instagram, which is the same thing. Or, of course, you just want to email us. You want to contact me or Travis. You want to just get down with us and tell us why you thought Thor was so 80s. And, like, why can't we have a more, 70s superhero or 90s superhero? I don't know. Talk to me about decades and time periods.
We got Deadpool already.
You can
we don't need another 90s superhero.
Yeah, we don't need another 90s superhero. You're right. Let's pick another decade. Email us at unapologeticgeekout@gmail.com. And with that, let's go to the show. Oh, whoa. Right. How have you been this week, my friend?
Had a lot of work, but I'm glad it's the weekend.
We've been busy, doing other projects and stuff. At least I have. And, we were recording a little bit earlier this week as well. I'm getting into that whole paperwork for, the small business ownership, that sort of thing for the podcast. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, man. You're making a small business when the Republicans are in power.
I know. It's not great. I mean, I felt like I'm not going to lie, I had like a little bit of a crisis about it. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm just discussing taxes and all this other stuff. I don't know if I can do this. But I rallied and I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. And you know who wasn't helping me? Fucking Pete, who was don't mean to name names, Pete, but you weren't making me feel great. And that was the guy I talked to via accounting, and because he was like the second or third guy, because I talked to a tax consultant as well. I talked to business licensing help center. And all of them were like, hey, so what is your business? And I said, we're a podcast that's looking to sell merchandise at conventions. That is a new one. I have never heard that before. That's great. That's immediately what I want to hear. I want to hear that you have no idea how to help me.
It's a small field. It's fine. We're
falling down on that customer service. I want to hear that you've done thousands of these and you know exactly what to do. On the bright side, I don't think we'll have much competition in the podcast con game.
Entrepreneurship there, man.
My God, we are like Christopher. No, we're like we're like, which one wasn't a mass murderer?
You gotta have sacrifices, dude.
You know what? You gotta break some eggs. You gotta break some Native American eggs.
We're not gonna commit genocide for this, are we? Because I think that's actually my hard limit. Like, small-scale murder, maybe.
Look,
but genocide's a bit up there.
Look, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna say that I didn't give some, My Little Pony fans I didn't give some bronies some smallpox blankets.
Okay, well, if we're talking about bronies, fine. I was worried about humans, man.
I'm kidding. We love bronies on this podcast. We love anyone who geeks out unapologetically like that.
That's not unapologetic.
Just don't invite your clopper friends.
Oh God, stop talking.
We don't like them. They're not invited to the cookout. With that, man, what else happened this week? I don't know. I mean, I guess I was just bogged down with like paperwork, which just sucks. I didn't get a chance. Like, I wanted to really get back into playing some Shadow of War. Yeah. I've been missing it a little bit.
No, I had to work a bunch of 10-hour days this week, so I wasn't doing much of anything either. I was coming home and sleeping. But I did download a new game this week, which I was pretty excited for.
Oh, yeah, the Dot Hack games got their remake.
Well, Dot Hack GU, the second series, got a HD upgrade.
Oh, I see. Is it just, it wasn't really a remake, is it just a re-res?
Yeah, I think it's just a up-res, not an actual HD remake full on.
I see. Oh, okay. I never got into those games. It was never my cup of tea, I don't think.
It's a pretty fun JRPG.
I suppose we should mention Daishokan is coming up 2 weeks away.
It is, which also means Thanksgiving's getting soon, too.
Yep, 17th and the 19th. We're going to be at Daishokan. Come down and say hi if you were going to be in the Wisconsin Dells area. We would love to say hi to you.
Which means we're also very close to our third-year anniversary?
Yep, it would be, actually, our next week would be our third week anniversary because we started 1 week before Daishokan.
Yay!
So happy birthday to us.
To the podcast.
To the podcast version of us. Merc with a mic is only 3 years old. And he talks like it sometimes too. Other than that, should we just skip right to the news of the week?
Sure.
All right. Should we talk about, I mean, I know we talked about a little bit off mic, but man, Hurricane Harvey, if we should call it that.
It's a catchy name. The U.S. has taken a lot of damage from hurricanes. This is a surprising one.
Yes. So, with the windfall of the sexual allegations made to Harvey Weinstein, there's been a lot of other fallout to other actors, producers. I just got the word now that Brett Ratner has split from the WB from sexual allegations. He was thrown under. I saw some of the transcripts from them, like some that Olivia Munn had said back when she wrote her book, like a while ago, actually. Oh. So I think that was like, it was something about her walking into the trailer and he was masturbating when she was walking in the trailer with a shrimp cocktail in his hand. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
And I'm like, why shrimp cocktail? And I know that's not the detail I should be focused on, but it is for whatever weird reason.
At this point, I think that's the thing you'd want to focus on.
That is, so that's gross. And then Kevin Spacey comes out, and I'm like, oh, god damn, no, not Kevin. His was, I was almost ready to kind of look past his, too, because it was like, it was 30 years ago, and I was drunk at a party, and he made a apology that was almost pretty good.
He almost made a full apology.
Because the first paragraph of his apology is like, I don't remember this act, but I don't want to say that you're a liar, so I'm going to take your word on it, and I am so sorry that I did this to you, and you had to carry this for like 30 years. It was pretty, I'm like, you know what? For apologies of people who are accused of this is pretty much exactly what we want these people to say.
Yeah.
It was too bad that second paragraph was all about like, but the big thing is that I'm gay. So, we should focus on how I'm, choosing to live life as a gay man. I'm like, dude, what?
Let me just say this right now. Gay or straight, doesn't matter if you're a rapist, you're still an asshole.
Right. I think it was just that, I don't know what he was trying to do. Like, was he trying to divert, like...
Smoke bomb!
It's just, but with glitter. Glitter bomb!
Glitter bomb!
So that's not cool.
No, that's pretty lame, actually.
But, I don't know. I mean... I'm just now it's a point like who's next.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to the Double Toasted podcast, which I listen to sometimes, and they were talking about like, dude, like it's sad, but if they announced Tom Hanks next week, I'd be like, that's about time until they got him. And I'm like, God damn, not Tom Hanks, not Sir Pumpkin, not David S. Pumpkins. He's still pure. But all joking aside, I'm actually super excited that
something
all
is
this
actually being done.
I'm actually super excited that this is all getting dragged out into the spotlight, and we can actually move forward, and there's consequences for these people.
Yeah, so hopefully next time they might actually have to think about, maybe I shouldn't sexually assault this person. Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it's good that we are in a scenario now where it's not only it's encouraged to speak out with this.
It actually gets you something.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like the fact that these people, the fact that they are out of their positions of power, that caused them like, oh, well, I always like to think that like, oh, well, just because they were accused, does that mean they should lose their job? And I'm like, yeah, because their job, they used their job as a tool in order to
assault people.
Yeah, so it's basically you taking away their tools to do such things. If you kill someone with your car, they take away your license.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing that makes sense to me. That's why I think when a cop kills somebody and they weren't armed and they killed somebody by mistake, I don't think they should be a cop anymore. Because I think that your job is supposed to be protect and serve. You failed to. You actually killed somebody you weren't supposed to. I think that makes you a pretty terrible cop. There's like that's like one of the big qualifications. So I'm actually really cool with WB severing their connection with Brett Ratner, Harvey Weinstein going on the outs.
And like his last movie only made like $758, I think it was. Like the last.
I mean, I'm not crazy that he basically fled to do like therapy in another country, like pulling a fucking what's his name, the other pedophile, Roman Polanski, pulling one of those moves. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I feel like this is like last year was celebrity deaths. This year is celebrity sexual allegations.
I mean,
I don't think we're done. I'm pretty sure we're not done yet.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out.
I mean, I guess I would hopefully say we can only go up from here, but ugh.
Well, on that note, let's see, what was one of our first news stories I wanted to get to here? You have to forgive me, I had to bring them up. I suppose we should in the spirit of Hollywood and some drama going down there, should we talk about Tyrese from the Fast and Furious franchise?
Oh, you heard this one.
Tyrese Gibson. Mm-hmm. This past week, his feud with The Rock has escalated.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. But
I've heard the general gist of it.
So I think I have a quote here exactly from him. Is that he was saying, I just got a problem with Dwayne. It appears he's being selfish. It appears that he's so focused on furthering his own self-interest. And what his deal is that The Rock took that deal for a spinoff for his character and Jason Statham's character. And Tyrese Gibson's like, how dare you take that deal without like informing the rest of the crew, the rest of the family, if you will.
He does know they're not actually family, right?
I think Look, I think that we make fun and everything, but I think Tyrese Gibson actually has a little bit of a mental problem. I think he's not emotionally stable. He's reportedly has to pay $16,000 a month or something for child support payments. Oh. And he's worried about losing his daughter, about not having because apparently the Fast and Furious franchise will have a delay because of this spinoff. And that lack of income or paycheck will affect him and his ability to pay those child support payments in order to fight for his daughter in a custody battle.
I mean, I guess.
And I'm like, look, dude, I get it. Custody battles are tough. That's not The Rock's fucking problem.
Yeah.
And even if it was, what are you doing that you can't get a paycheck in between Fast and Furious films? That feels like it's your doing rather than The Rock's doing. And look, he made a threat recently is that if he does this standalone movie and he wants to be in the next one, if he's in the next one, then I'm not going to be in the next one. And I'm like, dude,
Wow, that's not much of a threat.
Look, yeah, it's like threatening to shoot a hostage that no one likes. Like, your character is the easiest one to replace on the crew. In fact, he doesn't even need a replacement. He can just be gone.
Yeah, people are like, remember that other guy? Which one?
No one's paying money to go see Tyrese.
No.
People will go pay money to see The Rock and shit.
Yeah. You're probably only making money because of people like, The Rock and Jason Statham.
Look, and I don't mean to say like know your place or anything like that. I don't mean to say it like that.
Well, when you're making threats, actually that's exactly when we should be saying it.
Yeah, when you can't make a threat like that and go like, dude, you are suffering delusions of grandeur if you have enough clout to make that type of threat.
Yeah.
Apparently he has cooled off though. Apparently an associate of Dwayne Johnson has talked to him and kind of calmed him down. I think Vin Diesel actually got in there to try and cool off the
fight.
What you say? Like, yeah, the tension between them. So I don't know. Like for me, it's just like sad because it's like, look, it's not like I don't like you, Tyrese, but you are obviously suffering under a delusion that your character is more important to this franchise.
Yeah.
And I get it. I feel like I get it that The Rock hasn't even been in half of the franchise or whatnot. He's a latecomer, and suddenly he's probably getting a bigger paycheck than you. I get that, but you have to understand that that's how it works. Is that he's a big box office draw. He puts more butts in seats. People like him more. He knows to keep his mouth fucking shut. And what was surprising to me is that The Rock has not mentioned anything about this feud at all.
It's probably not important to him.
I have a sneaking suspicion he might not even know what's going on.
You just want to come and go ask him. He just be like, so what?
I'm sorry, what? Like, because I have a sneaking suspicion he does not follow Tyrese on Twitter or Facebook or anything like that.
That hurts.
I mean, I assume someone would have told him or whatever, but as far as finding out from the source, I don't think he would.
That's kind of like finding out a cockatiel's angry at you.
I mean, yeah, and if he wants to make a spinoff with his character, that's his fucking business. Mm-hmm. It's not he doesn't need permission from the family to go and make a spinoff movie.
Right. If
the studio comes to his family is the studio. And his family, like, oh, you're going to pay me to do this movie? Yes, I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, I don't know, maybe it's different on set. Maybe the feuding is different. Like maybe they are a little more of a prima donnas on set because I know that they have tensions every once in a while. But as a casual observer, I'm just like, Tyrese, you're biting off a little more than you can chew here, unfortunately. I don't know. What else was it today?
Well, we can discuss a little bit how I think BlizzCon is currently happening over this weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
So, because the only thing we actually really care about for BlizzCon would be Overwatch, they did reveal their new hero. Woo!
Yeah. We have, what's her name?
Moira.
Moira.
Or as Jeff Kaplan spelled it, as OPAF.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting character.
Yeah, she seems like a strictly better Zenyatta from what I've seen.
Well, that's what I've seen too, of the healing and damage class thing she's doing.
Yeah, she's a support role who can use her left arm to heal and her right arm to damage and can summon an orb that can be either damaging or healing. I'm like, oh, so I mean like Zenyatta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but no, her ultimate can do damage and heal at the same time. Oh, so better than Zenyatta. Oh, wait, she can teleport. Oh, so also better than Sombra? Like, I'm confused what they're trying to do with this character, because she does seem like her kit's a bit like Sombra and Zenyatta combined. And kind of seems better than both those.
I don't know, we'll have to see.
Because I kind of do, I play Sombra quite a bit, and I play her kind of as a disruptor / support character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't... she's not usually the type of character I play, but it's she's an interesting level of support. And I feel like I might give her a try just because I kind of like I mean, her ultimate seems pretty awesome.
Yeah,
like I like her laser beam that also heals.
It's like coalescence, I think.
Yeah. Oh, here's another story. Not to transition, but to another major conglomerate.
Ah!
Disney Disney bans the LA Times from seeing its movies on its.
I think I was just reading about that, where like the LA Times saying something about how it's like they would like to show you the review for Thor, but they can't because Disney's mad. I think they said.
Yes, it is. I mean, I don't understand what really happened, other than the fact that the Los Angeles Times gave them a bad review on, or not them, like not even a bad movie review. It was based off of their parks, actually.
All right.
Yeah, their theme parks. Specifically, I think Disney Los Angeles. I think it's Disney World in Los Angeles. Right?
I don't know.
Or is it Disneyland? I forget which one's which. Shit.
The one in LA.
But they were complaining a little bit about how it wasn't paying its fair share to the city for certain, like, I think tax and like property stuff.
Right. I
think one of the examples here, like the one in this article, says that while Disney charges, the city of Anaheim built and owns the parking garages that Disney uses for its resorts, for which Disney charges $20 for each vehicle entry, yet the city leases the garage to the company for only $1 a year.
No.
So, I don't know, that doesn't seem right.
That's a little off.
That's some weird math right there. Again, I haven't done my research into the the allegations or whatnot, but that's I don't know. I guess that made Disney pretty mad.
I guess talk shit, get hit. LA Times talked some shit about Disney, whether it's true or not.
Yeah. Apparently, they had to do a apology letter, but I think they're still banned from the early stuff. I don't know. It seems pretty shady on Disney's part. To really put the LA Times on blast like that. I don't know, like that seems like a ridiculous thing for that parking thing. Like, really, you can't cut the city a little more cash than that?
Well, how much does Disney make per day?
Well, then there was that other story that their new streaming service, they appraised what it might be worth, and like that whole streaming service thing, it might be worth like $25 billion on its own. And it's like, you are one of the most major conglomerates, and you basically can print your own money, and yet you can't kick the city that hosts your major theme parks a little bit more money.
Yeah, that seems like bullshit.
And I don't mean like, you don't have to like gouge yourselves or anything, or like stab yourself in the side, but like when you're making $20 a vehicle and you paid how much for those parking structures that aren't yours.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but Nick, this just in. We can't review Thor anymore.
No?
Yeah, Disney just said that they're angry at us, so we can't review it.
Damn it! They're so fast! So fast. Oh, you didn't think I was listening, did you?
He's always listening.
You don't want to know what I did to the LA Times, you little bitch? Oh, okay. Well, here's some sad news.
Oh.
I wanted to get to this one. So, Tremors, the TV series, will not have Michael Gross in it. Dun, dun, dun. And I know Travis is like, I'm sorry, what? Who?
I didn't realize that there was
Bert Gummer won't be in the fucking Tremors TV series. Kevin Bacon will be in it, but Bert Gummer won't. No. I gave this TV series as much slack as I could, but no, it is dead to me. It is dead. What is a Tremors movie without Bert Gummers? There has not been one Tremors movie without Bert Gummers in it. Without Michael Gross, I should say, because I think the fourth one went back in time in Old West times, and they had an ancestor of Bert Gummers. Wow, this series might be worse than I think it is.
I just tuned out. Sorry, what happened?
I think I was talking about Old West revolvers shooting graboids. Okay, so
whatever.
Yeah, apparently he won't be in. He won't be have any involvement in Sci-Fi's upcoming Tremors TV series.
I didn't realize there was going to be a Tremors TV series. I think I forgot that info.
Mm-hmm. I always know about it. I'm always such a Tremors freak. I love those movies. Some of those movies. And I don't know, that makes me super sad. Like, he's not expensive. Like, he only does the Tremors movies. I mean, if for continuity alone, I don't understand. Is he,
maybe he's just smart and doesn't want anything to do with it.
I don't know. I see. What was his quote here? What is I think we could say with a good deal of certainty that the answers to both questions no. This shooting in around Albuquerque, he will be played. If Burt Gummer appears, he will be played by another actor. No, no. Michael Grossar, nothing. No, I will not accept anyone else's Burt.
Okay.
And I know this is a weird thing for me to go hard no on, but I'm such a stickler with my Tremors mythology.
Nick.
Yeah.
You have weird things to stick on every day of your life. This isn't going to weird me out any more than anything else has.
All right. Well, that's good. I didn't want to be a little anywhere over the edge.
I have no context for this, so I couldn't even tell you.
Well, that's a shame for me. I was actually looking forward to this TV series, and now I have to write it off completely. So that's how it works. That's how the internet works, Travis. They do one thing I don't like, and I have to write off the series completely. Okay. I've been told that this is how this works.
Okay.
It's rough. I don't get to watch a lot. I don't know how these Redditors do it.
I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be watching Gotham if that was the case, to be honest.
Oh, man, Gotham's fun.
Gotham is so much fun.
Yeah, we're deep into season 2 of Gotham. We'll do a Netflix and kill of it once we're done, but it's super fun.
No, we have to get Justin involved in this one because he's gonna have so much fun.
With that was all the news I had for this week that I really wanted to talk about, or basically just kind of shit on. Yeah. Otherwise, we can go right into the Thor review.
So no trailers at all today?
I'm so sorry. There was a couple of video game trailers, but I don't have them queued up, and I don't have our regular
setup.
Yeah, a regular setup. So we're just gonna let those go. Maybe we'll do them next week because we haven't. It's been a while since we've done a really big trailer talk.
Probably since our last really big trailer talk.
But no, don't worry. Tom from Toonami will come back. You'll hear his melodious tones again. But for now, we're going to take a small musical break, and we'll actually be back with Thor Ragnarok review after this.
Cross the rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens roar. You'll behold in breathless wonder the god of thunder, mighty Thor.
So, before we get into this, did you hear the one little bit more of Disney casting news?
No, I did not.
With the Lion King?
With the Lion King? Oh, who is Beyonce somebody?
Beyonce is Nala.
Is Beyonce Nala? Okay, I can dig with that. I can rock with that, sure.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, if you like it, put whatever a lion's version of a ring is on it.
Bite it till it submits to you?
All the single lionesses. But on that note, welcome back to the review, to Unapologetic Geek Out for our review of Thor Ragnarok. So, Travis, we saw Thor Ragnarok, and it was good.
It was hilariously
and
fun.
We saw it. Not to spoil the overall quality of the film, but yeah, go see it. It's pretty awesome.
It's a fun romp.
So yeah, let's just start it off here. We have director Taika Waititi, or Waititi. Here, I'll look up the correct pronunciation here because he deserves the correct one. So, Taika Waititi, that is what it is. A comedy guy known for his comedies,
which is what this movie really is.
Yeah, so he directed the What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire comedy film. He also did Hunt for the Wilder People. It makes a lot of sense to me now. The original, when he was first announced as the director, it wasn't very apparent to me. I'm like, oh, they're making a straight up comedy. But with some surprisingly dark moments in this as well.
And some serious ones.
And some serious ones, yeah. So, what really happens, we open with a cool, battle sequence, which is pretty neat. In the fact that, Thor is wrapping up another mission, cause he got wind of, of Ragnarok is supposed to be coming to Asgard. And, he actually faces off with Surtur, to begin with. And Surtur is actually voiced by, damn it, now I'm forgetting his name, Lex Luthor, damn it.
Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown, yes, thank you. Which is oh my god, yes.
Yes.
I didn't even know that going in. I'm like, is that Clancy Brown as a giant fuck-off demon with
Fire
horns?
Demon.
Yes. So, that's amazing. And we learn that, Thor has been out hunting for these, the Infinity Gems. He hasn't found any of them. Jack shit.
He's pretty useless at this.
He's actually pretty bad at it. And so he makes his way back home and discovers that, Loki is still kicking around after his
the first thing we
reveal.
discover is, like, where's Heimdall? Oh, he was banished for treason.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah. So we don't get Idris Elba right away. Instead, we see Carl Urban with bald and with a British accent as Scourge. Not the Scourge the Executioner in the comics, but doesn't get to the Executioner moniker until later in this film. He's fun. Carl Urban has a couple cool lines in this one, but yeah, we end up with after a gratuitous cameo that I guess I shouldn't spoil since the trailers don't spoil it. We get involved in like trying to track down Odin. Odin gets taken out of the picture pretty quickly plot-wise so that we can focus on Thor and Loki teaming up again to fight Hela, who is back after a, like, what was it, millennia banishment?
I'm not sure if they actually said how long the banishment was, but yeah, Odin banished her for quite a long time.
So she's back, she's pissed, and she wants to rule Asgard, because it turns out that she is actually the rightful heir as being the eldest sibling, I guess.
Eldest child of Odin.
Eldest child of Odin, yeah. So that is interesting. I'm not sure if that's a change up from the comics.
Couldn't tell you.
Hela's design is amazing.
She's hella
right
cool.
off the bat. She is great. The spiky horned headdress thing.
Oh, I love the thing she does with her hair every time she
like
puts
where
those
she
horns
puts it on or takes it off. Like, it's pretty cool. And again, like another speaking to how I my taste in women, like Hela is like, oh my god, she is so hot. Like, and I've seen Cate Blanchett before, but whenever anyone turns evil, they get like 15% hotter for whatever reason.
It's the confidence.
I think it is the confidence, the way she just struts up like, hey, kneel. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm down with that. Oh, and subjugation. Oh. Well, okay, I'm
Can we
still
do
down
both?
with it.
I mean, I'm up for both.
I mean, as long as, I guess kneeling isn't so bad. Oh, and here comes the swords.
Yeah, because I really thought, like, just based on what the trailer showed, I kind of assumed that she came up, demanded to, like, rule Asgard, and then had an army fight the Asgardians. Mm-hmm. And that does not happen.
So what I like about her is the fact that narratively, she fills pretty much the same role as the dark elf from Thor 2. Mm-hmm. She's like, okay, well, I want revenge on Asgard, and I want to rule the Nine Realms and that sort of thing. The fact is that they just make it a lot more interesting, and the fact that they don't focus on that part is... Do you realize, like, how little of Hela we actually get to see in this story?
Yeah, sadly little.
I mean, I would say sadly little, but I think it's actually a smart decision. Because the more interesting character stuff is going on in Scar, which is the planet that Thor ends up on. Mm-hmm. And that's actually where the more interesting stuff is going on in the movie. The necessary plot stuff is happening with Hela. And that's where, like, the main story is being, pushed forward. And Hela, like, Cate Blanchett is doing a great job at selling some of these lines as Hela. Again, it's not immediately, like, she's not an immediate, like, hit like Loki or Kingpin are, but, like, those are, like, lightning in a bottle, like, bad guys. Mm-hmm. As far as, stereotypical take over the world enemies, she is probably the best of those types.
Well, I think she does a fantastic job of chewing scenery when it needs to be chewed, and then really toning it down when she has to start delivering villainy stuff.
Yeah, I like to imagine since Galadriel being super pissed and just coming off like waking up the wrong side of the bed for Cate Blanchett, but it's actually more like Maleficent's design, which is kind of neat. And yeah, what I like about her too is that they make her... Normally, I don't like overpowerful bad guys because there's no stakes in someone that can't be killed or can just do whatever they want, which is what Cate Blanchett is. She is so powerful even before she gets to Asgard, because Asgard, where his power comes from. When she gets there, she's stronger, and the longer she's there, she's the stronger she is. Well, when she first shows up and faces off with Loki and Thor, they, try and take her out. And before she gets to Asgard and gets a power upgrade, she snatches Thor's hammer out of the air and breaks that shit apart.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's ever a metaphor for emasculating a superhero, I can't think of one that's more...
pretty fitting.
Like, I can't think of a more apt metaphor. Like, it's just... especially the look of Thor gets on his face after she catches it. She's like, ooh. Can you throw it back, or this is embarrassing. This usually doesn't happen to me. But
could you... that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, and she snaps that shit in half. I love Loki. Loki's this is like, oh, I guess it's time to leave.
Yep.
Man.
Hey, he actually does take Thor with him.
Loki is back in this movie, and I love Loki in this movie, and I love that he is such a petty bitch.
He really is.
He's such a petty bitch. I love that even, I mean, he might have gotten a power downgrade from some of the previous movies. But he is still conniving. He's still so much fun to watch. And I don't know, there's something about Tom Hiddleston as Loki that will be forever endearing to me. And
he's a charming motherfucker.
He's just charming. You like to not like him. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I think I really appreciate about Hela is that she does some cool stuff, and she doesn't summon a fire blast just to murder all the Asgardians. She does physical hand-to-hand combat to murder all the Asgardians. Because
her actual power is to summon swords and weapons of various sizes, which is aesthetically very pleasing, because she looks like a fucking anime character come to life.
I mean, after we get to a fight near the Rainbow Bridge near the end too, with her throwing those daggers and stuff, and that shit is I think I played this in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Yeah. She's using that super move that I like.
Well, even the opening sequence with Thor taking out those fire demons, no, this is a straight up combo from Ultimate Alliance.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they're going to go back and play those games again. But
those are fun games.
She's not the only new character we get, because after Thor gets trashed to the world of Scar, we meet Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie.
Yes.
Now, wow, great addition. Great intro to her character. Great setup for how she's very different than how Valkyrie is usually portrayed in the comics. Typical disgraced drunken warrior, basically, that she gets to be.
They actually start off a running joke with her character being that she shows up to be have her cool entrance and falls over drunk instead.
Yeah, so she gets some fun stuff to do, bouncing off of Thor and another character, which is Hulk.
Which is not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler. The trailers sell it, and even though they do a good lead up of revealing Hulk as well. Which is the point. I'm I wonder if you got to figure that it was always planned in the marketing team to reveal that Hulk was in the movie, but it does in the first half. It really does play it he ain't in this. He ain't in this. It's just a weird move.
Yeah,
but I do when he shows up. The battle between him and Thor is fucking awesome. He's got the gladiator armor on that's from the Planet Hulk comic book. It looks exactly like it. Thor...
The fight actually goes on a lot longer than I expected it to.
And yeah, the fight is intense. There's fun moments in it. It goes up and down. It goes back and forth. I love when Hulk is revealed, Loki is oh fuck. And he just kind of slides. He tries to slide out of there, because he's still dealing with that PTSD. Yeah. Well, even when Thor is getting his ass kicked at certain points, Loki's yeah, that's how that, you almost want him to yell from the back, that's how it feels, bitch!
He does yell that at one point.
I love that Loki, while being this powerful god that he claims himself to be, is not above this petty shit that he does.
Speaking of, I kind of looked up, as far as I could tell, Hela is actually Loki's daughter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that Norse mythology and how it all works out.
Yeah.
I never understand how all that familial stuff works. It confuses me to no end.
I think Loki's also a mother to some things.
Yeah, that's where I get confused. But who's managing this gladiatorial arena? Why? It's fucking Jeff Goldblum
because of
as
course
the Grand Master. Okay, so The surprise MVP of this movie is actually Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put okay, as good as all the other characters are, I already know that they're mostly good. I mean, I know that I like Hulk, I know that I like Thor, I know that I like Loki. Jeff Goldblum comes out of nowhere and it's just like, oh my god, who are you all of a sudden? He's this great, like, man, I don't even know how you describe him. He's a bad guy for sure.
He's a megalomaniac.
He's megalomaniac, but he's got this weird, odd charm of like, hey, we want you to be Jeff Goldblum, but like the most Goldblumiest of Jeff Goldblums. Like,
go full Shatner.
Yes, it's like if someone went full Shatner, but with a Goldblum impression, and he is just amazing. Like, he has this lackey that seems to be confused about being ruled from a different type of dictator.
I loved his lackey. She was really entertaining for what she showed up in.
Who I don't even think gets a name.
No. But
she hands him his melting people stick.
It's like, no, he just interrupted me. That's not a capital punishment. I'm like, yes, it's not, but you're a megalomaniac dictator. It's how it works.
Okay, so let's talk about Thor for a minute.
All right.
So Thor himself. So this movie is basically kind of changing a lot of stuff about the Thor movies, especially in their mythos. Mm-hmm. They are eliminating a lot of stuff that didn't work in the previous movies. All the human characters from Earth are gone.
Right.
We spend so little time on Earth in this movie, it's basically non-existent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no Natalie Portman, no Kat Dennings, no Selvig. There's no... we get a little bit of the Warriors 3, but then they are immediately also taken out of the movie. This is Thor, Loki's, and Hulk's movie. That bromance, as well as Valkyrie introducing her. They're taking the stuff that just was either okay or just like didn't really
mediocre.
Work in eliminating it. And one of the things they also change is Thor as a character. There's no way around it. Thor is just a lot dumber in this movie than in the previous two movies, but in a normal movie, that would make you like him less. There's some sort of weird judo that they've done where they've changed Thor to make him this dumber jock character, and it makes him way more compelling.
Well, to be fair, he was kind of a dumb jock character in the first movie, just not to this extent.
No.
And it probably does have a lot to do with Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth, while his dramatic acting, I think, is very good. I've seen him be a good actor. But the fact is that his lane is comedy.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it.
We saw that in the Ghostbusters movie, and we've seen it now in this movie. I'm like, dude, you are funny. And not only are you funny,
he's good timing.
You are funny as fuck. And the way he has his physicality, he reminds me of when I first saw Drax, Dave Bautista as Drax.
Yeah.
Where I was like, Dave Bautista, you are hilarious. You have great comedic timing. You are actually very good at this. It's not the fact that of just what he's saying, it's how he's delivering it. And the fact that he sees Hulk and he's so excited. He's like a dumb little kid that doesn't understand what's about to happen to him. And you kind of...
Loki sure does.
And you kind of go, aw, he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And it makes you like him. In fact, when he makes even remotely smart decisions later, you feel like, oh, good for him, good for him. Like, it changes the dynamic completely. This movie is the exact opposite of what Thor the Dark World is, where Thor the Dark World wants you to take everything so fucking serious.
Right.
And, like, no, Thor is a legitimate hero, and we need to watch on his hero's journey as Loki, and he wants to trust Loki, but he can't really. In this movie, it almost makes fun of those other movies, and a lot of other Marvel movies, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, yeah, we kind of recognize this is a little dumb, so we're gonna turn into the skid. So we heard a small complaint from our fellow unapologist Kyle, and I've heard this complaint around too of just this movie. I feel like they're leaning into the fun a little too much, and I find that, not to disparage anyone's opinion, I find that a ridiculous complaint. For me, there is no such thing as too fun. I
think there can be, but the thing is that while Thor acts happy and stupid, that doesn't make him incompetent, which I
No.
think is the key thing. He does things that are like, that was funny because he did something stupid, but then he's actually thinking through plans. He's actually recognizes when things are a problem. He's not incompetent.
No, he's just like a little
Naive.
Yeah, and it's for me like the fun aspect of this movie does not take away because there's some serious consequences that go on here. In fact,
There's actually higher stakes in this movie's ending than a lot of the other movies had. Period.
Very much so.
Like this is like Civil War.
We're not going to give it away, but the status quo that they change up by the end here of like how the Thor movies are going to go going forward or how that mythology goes, it's pretty significant what they change up. And yeah, I really appreciate that. I love everything on the Sakaar planet. The color palette is so 80s, neon, fucking color.
They play this Willy Wonka tunnel music.
Well, like I said from the Thor the Dark World movie, I said I liked that movie at the time more so just because of the design. And what I said there was that it looks like an 80s Trapper Keeper or book. Like when you open up one of those 80s novels, sci-fi novels with like flying horses and dragons on the cover.
Yeah,
but,
like a death metal album.
Yeah, like a death metal album. But like, and then it's like, oh, but then the story is never nearly as that crazy or ridiculous on the inside. This one is like if that promise came true and you gave it like hundreds of millions of dollars of a budget.
And put a Hulk in it.
And you put a Hulk in it. Like, it's crazy. Hulk fights fucking Fenris the Wolf in this, dude. Yep. He fights a giant fuck-off wolf.
My only spoiler here, there was no giant serpent, which makes me very sad.
I'm sure they're saving it. Like, I'm sure that was like, we can't have everything in this one.
It's the end of the world!
It was either this or Carl Urban's character development.
But we need to rewind just a bit, though.
Yeah, we're running.
Because we were talking about acting choices, how Chris Hemsworth does a very good job. Well, there was another person who played Thor in this, too.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if we should spoil that.
No,
we're
gonna leave that?
Cameo. Okay, so there's a scene like where they do a little play theater where Loki is basically jerking himself off, watching this play of himself. And let's just say they get some actors in here and they play up this, the death scene from Thor the Dark World. The thing is that they don't change the dialogue almost at all, I don't think. But you realize the ridiculousness of it in that scene, and the actors they get to play it are so fucking pitch perfect. Like I won't ruin it because I feel like that's also a great surprise.
Yeah,
but it's so funny.
It's great.
This movie is so funny. Like I laughed almost consistently throughout it. And when you think like the normal thing is like, oh, well, it'll get serious near the end, and then like the jokes won't be as fast paced. Some of the funniest jokes are at the end. Some of the very funniest jokes are near in the climax.
Well, because they have a running joke that we mentioned before that they almost ruined by doing it too many times, but they pull it off just perfectly at the end.
Okay, so yeah, there's an entrance joke in this movie where people's entrances are like, oh, well, they're ruined a little bit.
Yeah, which we explained before, start with Valkyries.
Yeah, Valkyrie, where she kind of comes in and her epicness is kind of ruined by a drunken stumble or two. Thor's talk with Surtur is ruined because he's spinning on this chain, like in an awkward way where it's like not quite like, oh, sorry, I'll have to talk to you when I come around. And it's funny, like, but they hit it almost one too many times. But then the last time they do it, it takes it so far.
I actually scrunched up in my seat in the theater just to laugh.
It was so, like, it takes it to, it's like, oh, okay, this whole, the running joke here was totally worth it to get to that.
Well, the whole running joke was to get to this point, almost.
Yeah, and it's a thing, because they make me, I'm like, oh, I'm a little tired of this joke, but then they make me fall in love with the joke all over again. So that was pretty cool. Let's see what else here. We have Korg and Meek from the Planet Hulk series. Korg is being played by Taika Waititi. Those characters are basically not anything as close as they were in Planet Hulk.
No.
For me, for someone who loves Planet Hulk as much as I do, I realize that I will never get a Planet Hulk movie. That is like, this is as close as I'm gonna get.
Besides the animated one.
Yeah. Hulk in this. They switched up Hulk to where Hulk can just talk. They explain it a little bit, I think, by like, okay, he's been around for a while, and I think he's just kind of learned had a toddler. They treat Hulk like he is a toddler, basically. And yeah, I love it. They give Hulk a personality of like this toddler, and what's great is that he's not mad all the time, but like he's like Hulk mad just all time. Thor's supposed to be friend, like you're not real friend, and it's like Earth hate Hulk, and it's like what? No, big guy, they don't hate you. and I'm like, but it's great because like because you feel bad for Hulk. It's like, oh,
well, especially when like Thor gets mad at him 5 minutes later and says, "Well, Earth does hate you." I'm like, oh,
yeah, Earth does hate you. We call you the stupid
giant
Avenger.
green puppy.
And then it's like, and then Thor gets mad and kicks stuff. Like, oh, Thor kicks stuff. Or like, and it's just, it's interesting to see like them play off of each other in this way. And you get why Hulk likes it on Sakaar, because they
parade for him.
They parade for him. They like him. He feels like he belongs there, and it does. That's basically the gist of the Planet Hulk storyline. Is Hulk finally found a place where he belonged?
Yeah,
and that's the gist of it anyway. So like they got it done within the limited amount of time they had,
and they actually did a really good job of making it so that neither Hulk nor Bruce Banner really wanted to go with Thor at first.
No, I do love it because Bruce Banner does get to reappear in this one. And there's this great line too of like, "Oh, you just want me for Hulk? I feel so used right now." Like it's like, what? No, I much prefer you. Like you, I mean, Hulk is like, but if I'm being completely honest, Hulk is really useful in these giant. I mean, we might have to fight some giant, wolf at some point. And I feel like we could use Hulk for that. And he's like, "What about me? I'm useful. I have 7. Like it's like I have 7 PhDs. I'm useful." And then Thor just comes back with a, "Are you though?" And I'm like,
"Aww." Thor is really kind of mean to both of them.
I just love that he's like, "But are you?" And I just love because it's another moment where the film is just like, "Yeah, but do you really want to see Bruce Banner, or do you just want to see Hulk again?"
No, I like Mark Ruffalo.
But Mark Ruffalo does get a point where he gets to just hang in this movie. It's not really about him so much. It's actually way more about Hulk than it is about Bruce Banner. I like that he finally gets a chance to give an extended performance as Hulk. Hulk gets a personality finally.
Right.
It's a good thing that we finally get it. It's a little late for me. I feel like we should have done this a little earlier.
Yeah, but it'd been a lot easier if they had a Hulk movie to do it with.
Right. Better late than never.
Yeah.
Better late than never. I mean, I really like where Hulk ends up near the end here, where he, with the Asgardians and how they all end up. It's very interesting to me how this will all I mean, I can already kind of see how this all leads to Infinity War.
Yeah.
I can kind of see how I don't know how they get there, but I see there's like a hop, skip, and a jump into running into Thanos.
Things are coming together.
Yeah. So we should probably get to the complaints. Now, I don't actually have many because I'm this movie aesthetically is exactly up my alley, the 80s aesthetic. I love fucking flying rowboats with machine guns on them and people fighting with swords, fighting against spaceships while they're flying. Pegasuses, Pegasi.
Probably.
I think, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but either way, I love that shit. I love that they never have to explain anything. I don't care that all the aliens somehow speak English. I don't care. It's for it's because it's easier narratively. Right. That's all that I need to know. I don't know, the one thing I gotta complain about just a little bit is that man, maybe I should say this for the spoiler section. Okay, the way they marginalize certain side characters, the way they, because there's some side characters that just don't make it through the rest of this movie.
No, they really cut it down to the bare minimum of what you need.
And if I'm being completely honest, we don't get a lot of time to really absorb that in the sense of feeling it emotionally, because this film is so lightning paced. We're constantly, especially in Hela's segments, we're constantly moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. And
for me, I actually thought for a while, I'm like, oh, that won't be a permanent change because they'll get, Thor will get his hammer back by the end of this movie. These characters that died will still be alive. Hela will go back to banishment or whatever, and things will go back to normal. And that's just not,
because that's what we're kind of used to, is resetting the status quo.
That's just not what happens.
No.
And at a certain point, I want to actually see it again to see since I know it's permanent this time around, then I'm like, oh, that's a change that's actually staying changed. I want to see if like that plays differently, because I went in my head like, oh, well, that'll get retcon, like that'll get taken care of later. So there's like a slight thing of that. I'm like, man, I really wish that we would gotten to use a little more time to really feel like, oh shit, like there's not even a line of dialogue when Thor comes back and it's like, hey, what happened to these people or to this person? Like there's not even this, like we don't even see Lady Sif at all in this movie.
No.
What happened to her? Like she's not even in this. Sorry for any Lady Sif fans, she doesn't show up in this at all.
Yeah.
And we don't even get a question of like, hey, where the fuck did she go? I mean, other than that, there's only one other small thing that I don't like, and the fact is that they just underuse Karl Urban, and I can't.
See, I can understand why they added him in, because we needed some kind of element to relate to Hela.
Hela needs someone to talk to.
Yeah,
that's the basic reason why he's there, and it's not a bad reason to create a character,
right,
or to put it, but he doesn't really have a function other than that.
And I would have either preferred they do more with him or do less with him.
So the thing with it is that his storyline almost works. It almost pays off for me. Unfortunately, this is a sort of thing kind of like horseshoes, where it's almost only counts as horseshoes and hand grenades for me. It's kind of a zero sum, because they play Scourge completely differently than what they do in the comics. Scourge is kind of this warrior of Asgard that's stated that he's fought with Thor before at a previous battle.
Yep.
Thor doesn't remember him. He works a little bit for Loki when Loki is pretending to be Odin. Like, Loki doesn't acknowledge him.
Loki uses him as an alarm clock. So it's like, hey, you stand here and let me know when Thor arrives.
Hela basically doesn't even, barely acknowledges him. And you get from his perspective, he's a warrior in Asgard that's just, he's not the best warrior.
Actually, the sad thing is, Hela does acknowledge him more than the others do. She's like, hey, you have a brain to you because you didn't immediately try attacking. You want a job?
Yeah.
And he's like,
Well, he's the only one that is like, at the time where he just realizes that this chick is way too powerful to fucking fight. I could fight her, but all I'm gonna do is die.
Right.
And like he just doesn't see any point into fighting. What actually makes him a lot smarter than some of the other Asgardians, to the point where, like, the Asgardians, like, I get at the point where like you want to fight and for sure protect your home, but after like the 207th guy, maybe start a retreat or something.
Because at that point, it wouldn't be so bad if every single person on Asgard was a warrior. But they show later, like, oh, there are women and children here. I'm like, oh, so basically you all like went to sheep to the slaughter just to leave your children to also be sheep to the slaughter.
Yeah, like you didn't retreat back and try and defend your home and your children and your families. Like that was a weird, like, but again, it's a warrior culture. So like, I'm not sure how it goes, but, Scourge, you understand, like, oh, he just wants to be recognized for his status as a warrior. He wants people to notice him. What I really need from Scourge is the fact that he has this character arc and like redemption near the end of like, I want people to remember who I am. The real problem is we don't get the line of dialogue that we need from him to go like, I was at every major battle. No one remembered me. I need them showing like a flashback of him doing significant stuff in each battle. Like maybe he helped out with the prison riot in Thor 2. Or, I don't know, he fought some of the...
like, for him to just have a big blowout to either Loki, Thor, Hela, one of the three, and they said, like, I was there, and all that.
Or maybe he helped save people from the Frost Giants when they invaded in the first movie, and he actually legitimately helped out, but no one ever recognized him and gave him honors. And in a warrior culture like that, that means a lot.
That's a big slight.
That's a big slight to him. You could get it from his perspective, but because we missed that... At the end, I logically like, oh, I understand from a logical perspective what your character arc is.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't feel it.
No.
And that's the most important part that I need to get. And you never get it, which is a sad thing to say. And Karl Urban almost sells it just on his performance. Because, man, that guy is good. He's good, okay? He's just selling basically what he's thinking through his face. But it's... I don't know. That was like... as far as disappointment goes, that's pretty much my only one.
I have just a couple.
Mm-hmm.
One is, I wish there was more Hela. To be honest, I love her design. I love her fighting style. Like, the first couple scenes she's in seemed a little bit rough with the choreography, but after that, it was just so fun to watch. I was like, I don't even care. It looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wanted more backstory for Valkyrie.
See, Valkyrie is another one which I think we're going to have to get to in the spoiler section because I'm pretty sure there is a distinct reason that her backstory got a little clipped. But
Well, I was missing also just one line from, not her, but Hela. Because they showed she was a Valkyrie, the Valkyries ones that actually attacked Hela to get her banished.
yeah,
And when she shows up, Valkyrie shows up in the final fight, and Hela doesn't even acknowledge her. I'm like, really? There's not some line there about how it's like, oh, I thought I killed you all or something?
I mean, I get that maybe she doesn't even remember her. Maybe it was a blip on her radar, but you'd think Valkyrie would have said something.
Yeah, like, there's just some missing dialogue there that I'm like, oh, this is really noticeable in the final fight.
Like, that did strike me because it's such an easy dialogue fix. But overall, I think Valkyrie ran the same risk as Karl Urban as Executioner, is that she was developed only slightly enough to be kind of a new cool character to introduce. But with her, I think she actually got out of it. She got out of it by the skin of her teeth. Like, oh no, she's actually pretty compelling, and she has a lot more. She has a lot more screen time, so she gets a lot more stuff to do. And she has the simple arc of like, hey, I'm out for redemption because I'm like this broken, drunken warrior out in exile and self-exile. So like she gets, like a Ronin or something, she gets a chance to redeem her honor sort of thing.
I also feel like this movie's opening might be a little too cluttered. Because we have the Surtur opening, then we have Thor coming back to Asgard, then we have the secret appearance, and then we have them finding Odin. And I'm like, this whole thing seems like they could have cut one of those 4 parts out.
I feel like that is a problem that I did not have, just because it followed the structure of like, this is all still in the first act of them just learning stuff.
Yeah.
Then the fight in the beginning is just to like, hey, we're having fun because we're not going to have a fight scene for another 20 minutes. So
I honestly feel like they should have just cut out I know that the
cameo.
The cameos are a fun thing to do, but I feel like in this movie it would have almost been better just to cut it out.
Nope, never.
Okay.
I love the cameo so much because
I usually do, but this one I just feel like it would have been better off not having it.
See, I love the fact that we can interconnect the characters and stuff a lot more so now, and the fact that the cameo's appearance does make sense depending on what they're doing.
I don't disagree. I just feel like for a time's sake and a pacing wise, it would have been better without it.
I don't know. I rarely felt like, if anything, this movie was moving too fast for me at certain points.
Yeah.
I rarely felt like it was slow at all.
It was only that first couple scenes where I'm like, oh, we're doing this. It almost seems like we're opening for like a 3rd or 4th time where I'm like, oh, this seems really extended, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a pretty minor nitpick. It's not something I like really majorly taking points off of. I
mean, other than that, I think the ending is very good in this film.
I really like the ending of this movie.
I'm surprised I actually did not going back, it's like super obvious, like, oh, I really should have seen this coming, but I just didn't.
Honestly, I don't know if you could have predicted it just because of like how they played it off.
No, all the pieces are there. Like they almost, I mean, not to give anything away, but they actually almost kind of telegraph it near the beginning.
I suppose.
But you're kind of, I guess I am used to the Marvel films of following the same formula to the point where when they switch it up, I'm kind of like, holy shit.
Right, when there are consequences for the movies.
Yeah.
Because they always say there's consequences, but it's never like, again, using the same line of Thor, is there really?
Is there really? I mean, I love this. I mean, it kind of shakes up the same way Winter Soldier shakes up the spy game and S.H.I.E.L.D., what the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff were of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This shakes up the Asgardians and some of the cosmic stuff in the universe. And I really like where it leaves off to. It gives, by the end of the movie, I'm like, I see why everything happened, and it was smart because now this leads to a lot of other stories we can tell. This is interesting. This keeps me going. It makes me way more interested in not only the Avengers movies, but actually in Thor's next movie,
Right.
Which is something Thor: The Dark World did not make me do.
Well, until they announced what it was.
So yeah, I think if we're gonna go into final thoughts and ratings and stuff, like I mean, I basically just gave my final thoughts right now.
You did.
But yeah, it was so much fun, and I feel like Marvel might have found its niche of like maybe we should make these like even more comedic than we already do, because there's a good line to these pacings to when I'm not thinking about stuff nearly as much not making sense when I'm laughing during it.
Right.
I'm not thinking about, oh, how did Hulk get here? Like, how did the Quinjets travel in space? Or what are the wormholes? And I'm like, I don't really care. Like, I just don't give as much of a shit because I'm like, no, he got here because we need to have Thor fight Hulk in a gladiator arena and have Thor call upon like lightning and shit. And I don't care how we got here because this is amazing and it's great. Yeah, again, it's going to be a pretty biased opinion from me because it's combining like some of my favorite comics, especially Hulk and Thor comics, and it's really funny. The aesthetic, like just visually, this movie is just a scrumptious to watch at certain points.
It is.
The flashback with Hela and the Valkyrie, every frame of that flashback is basically an album cover or basically something that could go on your wall as a true art piece.
I still want that one with the Valkyries coming down on Hela. I'm like, it's a
tapestry. Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. There's no other way to describe it. It's like just oh my god, this is awe-inspiring. I love it. I mean, even Sakaar, even the goddamn trash planet is colorful. Like
Satan's butthole.
Even Satan's anus. They even make me run around where I'm like, I'm not even tired of Loki yet. No. I want to see more Loki.
And they do bring up the point in this movie where it's like, your character doesn't really change much, does it? And they do acknowledge that.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, it's... Man, if they could have worked around Karl Urban's character a little bit and had done maybe a pumped up, like, and they just need one more line of dialogue from Valkyrie for me to really make her character perfect.
Yeah.
If Karl Urban just had a little more to do, and they, I don't know, and again, there is a weird pacing thing where stuff really happens real quick when it's with Hela. But I think they did that just like, we got to get to the funny stuff. We got to get to the funny stuff because this is all the stuff that people didn't like in Thor: The Dark World. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 and a genuine nitpick. You can't tell you guys how much I wanted to give this one a 5 out of 5. Yeah. But I don't know, there are just like one or two things that bug me enough to where like, okay, you don't get a perfect score or I don't know, like the highest score I usually give, but you are close as almost anyone gets. And this one is kind of like top 5 Marvel movies. It might be my third favorite. It might have knocked out Guardians.
Yeah.
I don't know. I laughed more than this in the first Guardians. I did. Its villain is more compelling and better. And
it has by far one of the most compelling villains of like any Marvel film.
Well, at least well designed.
Yeah,
like the design of her, like she's so visually distinctive.
No, even her backstory I liked.
Oh yeah, like she's definitely got an interesting backstory. Now, man, we'll have to get to that a little bit of a spoiler section because I have a theory of like what's like happens near the end with her. But what did you think overall, my friend?
I think that I want to give kudos to whoever actually cut the trailers for this film because they sold exactly what this movie was without giving a single damn thing away. Besides the Hulk.
Good. Like that was what's good about this movie, wasn't it? Is that when you went in and you got exactly what the trailer promised you, and it was like, oh, I want this, and it's like, you want that because we got that because we got this, we got all this,
yes,
we got extra this.
It's like you want Planet Hulk, we got Planet Hulk. You want a fucking hella fine villain, we got that too.
You want Hulk fighting a fucking Fenris the Wolf?
Yeah,
you
even though you wanted that, and we're not going to show you want that until you get it. Like. Yeah, this This movie, I think's biggest strength was the fact that going in, I expected just a fun, just over-the-top romp, and I got that plus more. That's the biggest strength of this movie. I had so much fun watching it. I laughed hard, and I felt like character growth actually happened along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was trying to decide. I kind of want to give this a 9.
9? That's a pretty good score. Overall.
I really had fun with this movie. Like, honestly, if nothing else, just because of this way, I don't have to listen to you bitch about, like, that's one less movie franchise I can have you bitch about less is Planet Hulk now. I'm like, that's one thing off the list. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna give this a 9 out of 10. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah, this one, like, does make me appreciate, like, you know, every once in a while I think like, well, maybe Marvel does have a formula. I'm like, oh, well, they have a formula for a reason, because this way, when they do stretch and they do take a chance, they're a little safer in doing that. And I really like the way they change it up here. It's really good. We'll get more into some specifics in a spoiler section, because I do want to talk a little bit more about this movie in depth.
Do you want to save Stan Lee's cameo for a spoiler?
Yes, we'll save the Stan Lee cameo. Because I did not know where he was going to pop up in this one. And he pops up, and it's great! Maybe not the best one, because there have been so many good ones.
Well, he appears in every movie, so...
But this one's pretty good. I liked it. So, we'll come back with the spoiler section after a musical break. But... as a reminder for everyone who wants to just check out now, hey, check out our back catalog on iTunes. You know, give us those 5-star reviews. Tell us, who you want Thor to team up with next. Maybe we can get Thor, Black Panther,
Thor and Bucky.
Two monarchs. Oh no, Thor and Bucky.
Thor and Bucky, because that seems awkward. I want it.
I have a metal arm. Well, I used to have a hammer.
We both lost things. Great. Bonding.
Do you have a weird gay relationship that people like to put you in with your male co-star? Oh, buddy. But yeah, you can also follow us on Facebook or on Twitter at UGO Podcast, or Instagram, which is the same thing, or email us at unapologetygeekgoat@gmail.com. With that, we're gonna go on a small musical break, and we'll be back right after this with spoilers. Spoilers. Yeah. We talk about the most important thing first. Okay, Stan Lee cameo.
He's obviously the most important, because none of this would exist without him. So
I like the Stan Lee cameo. So how's about this haircut that Thor gets?
He gets a haircut.
So I love that, because it's another one where we get like, you dare suffer the consequences. You cut my hair. And then he gets Stan Lee with this great giant blade machine thing, and it's like, oh god, please don't. No, not my hair.
And we get Chris Hemsworth screaming like a little bitch, and it's awesome.
Great moment of levity there. Okay, so yeah, some other spoilers. I don't care. I like the Doctor Strange cameo. See, that was pretty cool.
It wasn't that I didn't like it. It's just I feel like it could have been removed to make the opening a little bit smoother.
Well, they're the characters that make the most sense to meet each other first, besides of like in their own movies, because they're like, oh, I deal with mystical realms and shit too, and like they're the most likely to run into each other. Right. So it makes a lot of sense to me that they would run into each other for a hot minute in this movie. And it's not really that long. Like it's very quick. It basically gives time for Thor to drink a never-ending pint and fuck up a bunch of Doctor Strange's shit with a hammer. I love that they finally do, because you know that hammer fucks up so much other stuff.
Yeah. It's not like it's got very good GPS.
No, like when it finds them, so they finally go like, it's just causing hundreds of dollars of property damage. It's like, and he's just like, sorry, it's coming, and it's like.
I love how, like, Loki's like, you think you're magic, bro? Like, lunges for Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is like, no, not dealing with you.
I do like that, because Doctor Strange isn't even trying to solve any problem. He's just like, no, you guys fucking destroy so much shit every time you come to Earth. I'm getting you guys and getting you off. So if you go off of Earth, go away.
I just love how petulant Loki was this whole thing. It's like, I was falling for 30 minutes.
Well, I always love that because I always wonder when mystical characters do that, I always wonder where they go.
Barely nowhere.
Like, I was wondering because, you know, when they fall like that, I'm like, oh, did he time displace them? Or like, and so when Loki finally says that, I'm like, oh, so that's what happens. It was just a cool little thing for me that like never, like, it's a small little detail that I never usually get explained. So I thought that was fun.
Yep. And then like shortly after that, they find Odin, who just immediately afterwards dies.
Sure, and that's a one other thing though when I talk about the pacing of this movie is that when Odin bites it, it's really hard. Like at first you're like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. But then the plot kicks in so fast after that, it's hard to absorb. And you get a scene later where Thor finally mourns after like, you know, a day or two of fighting.
They do actually start scenes of basically Thor going, oh hey Loki, by the way, didn't forget that this is your fault father's dead.
It does start off with like, fuck you. Like, and it's rough because it's hard to tell. Odin obviously did break his spell after a while, but it's hard to tell if that took a lot out of him or if it was just his time and he decided like, well, you know what? I'm going to spend my time in Norway and reconnect with, you know, where I first ran into Midgard sort of thing.
Well, I think it was probably a combination of, I think he probably also drew power from Asgard. So being away from Asgard for so long, plus having to fight Loki's spell was probably like a little bit too much of a 1-2 punch.
And yeah, it's interesting because they like Loki never like says that it's not his fault. No, but he never ducks responsibility.
Loki's never one to shift blame. Oddly enough, that is one thing he's always actually been pretty consistent about. Like, no, it's my fault, but that's because I caused it.
And it turns out Thor, like Odin, man, you got to work on your parenting skills, dude.
He's actually a way better parent in death as like an Obi-Wan character than anything else.
Because it turns out that, man, Odin lied about a bunch of shit.
Oh, he didn't speak a true word ever.
And apparently him and Hela were fucking conquerors up until Odin had a change of heart and wanted to be like a little bit like less crazy. And Hela was like, well, fuck that. Like, I'm gonna rule this shit whether you like it or not. And yeah, that's what caused him to imprison Hela. Like the only thing keeping her back is his life. So when he's gone, like she just comes back and wrecks shit. I do like the fact that it does give Thor and Loki a little more to bond over since both their parents are dead now. Yeah. And now Thor, Loki even gets a little more to bond with Thor. It's like, you were lied to from your birth as well. Now you're like me. Like you have the wool pulled over your eyes.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few serious moments in this movie like that.
Well, it kind of takes away the power dynamic because the reason Loki was always so bitter towards Thor was just like, you got chosen over me for shitty reasons when you shouldn't have got chosen. And now when it's revealed that like, oh, like Thor got the raw end of the deal too, not just me. And it kind of leaves Loki a little bit more sympathetic towards Thor. He's still a little shit.
Oh yeah.
Like he betrays them in this movie, even when he doesn't have to.
No.
Like, he betrays them near the end, and I love the fact that Thor sees it coming. It's like, you're getting predictable, brother. I trust you, you betray me, and around we go. Except life is about change, and you don't want to change.
There's a pretty good tongue-in-cheek there where they acknowledge, yeah, we know we haven't done anything with Loki's character in the last 3 movies besides keep him the same, but...
And what they do, they give him a change, which is very interesting. They obviously don't want to kill Loki. They want to keep him around. It's interesting to me because by the end of this, they treat him like he's kind of a good guy.
Yeah.
And we have to kind of forget that in the Avengers movies, he tried to commit genocide.
Who doesn't?
So, are we supposed to forgive him because he's not particularly good at it?
Hulk's almost killed a lot of people.
You know what? That's a fair point. I will concede that. You're right. There's questionable morality on the Avengers team.
Like when they had to bring out the Hulkbuster Iron Man suit to stop him.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a lot of property damage.
Yeah, it's not cut and dry. Like Civil War, if it's taught us anything, it's not cut and dry.
No.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we have wiggle room there. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like it, and I think it's more interesting to see it. We've seen Loki as a bad guy for a while, and I want to see where this goes. It's interesting.
I just hope that if they do keep him around as more of a side hero, that they do change his power level a bit.
Yeah.
He was pretty underpowered in this movie.
So let's talk about Valkyrie's character, since we mentioned that before. Valkyrie, she gets her backstory gets a little bit clipped before Loki reveals it. There's a certain image that we see a blonde warrior sacrifice herself to protect I didn't even forget her real name. I guess I just call her Valkyrie, since they're all technically Valkyrie.
That's what even the IMDb page has her named as Valkyrie.
Yeah, so now she is the Valkyrie, since she's the last
She's
one.
the last one.
So anyway, what's interesting about that is that girl that protects her is actually visually much more in line with what the comics depiction of Valkyrie is.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's kind of a diverge from continuity, like that in this universe that was her character, but it got switched around and like kind of like, I don't know, like Aqualad and Young Justice or something. And yeah, so she saves Tessa Thompson's version of Valkyrie, and you think like, oh, well, that'll come up later as, you know, maybe that was her general and she was the first lieutenant, or maybe vice versa. And like that was someone it was obviously set up to be someone special to her.
Right, because otherwise, I mean, if you're a warrior race trying to take down a goddess, you're not going to really have time to self-sacrifice.
So by the end of the movie, where they have not referenced it yet, I'm like,
weird.
I was just thinking, I'm like, well, why? When it's so it would take one line of dialogue to go like, you remember when you killed my such and such sister, friend, something, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Unless one of those things.
So I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, wait a second. What if it was in the original script? What if it was actually her lover? And then, I don't know, I don't want to speculate so much about what could have happened, because I don't know what happened. I don't know why her backstory got a little bit more downplayed.
How it's shot, it does kind of feel like that kind of thing, though.
I say that I don't know, there's just not a reason to not have a line of dialogue about it and show that specific image. It'd be different if they didn't show that specific image. And in that instance, I'm like, okay, that might be a little bit too subtle for giving backstory to her. Maybe they'll bring it up in another movie. Maybe they're just saving that for later to give more to her. Maybe they don't want to do everything with her character right off the bat.
Could be.
But yeah, that's what it felt like to me. I was thinking like, I think this got cut, and I don't know if that's the reason it got cut.
I hope it's not the reason it cut. It's just because she had a female lover.
I don't know. I mean, I can't call shenanigans without knowing for certain.
Yeah.
And that's something we won't know until probably a couple months from now. Like if ever, you know. I mean, it is a 2 hour and 10-minute movie. They do have to cut for time. Yeah. I don't know. It made me suspicious. I'll say I'm suspicious about it. I won't say that I won't call bullshit right off the bat, but I have my suspicions. Other than that, the Warriors 3 get taken out, and
like as soon as Hela shows up at Asgard, she's like, well, you're annoying, so bye.
They just go down, and I'm like, damn, that's so depressing. At first I didn't realize that was just a thing that was going to stay permanent. I'm like, oh, okay, they'll come back or something, or they'll find a workaround for it somehow.
Yeah.
But no, they all just die. I mean, the only one that gets a really big thing is the Asian one, which whose name I can't even remember now. And he gets impaled on this fucking spike. And he's just like, oh, god damn. This movie's a little violent in certain places.
Yeah. Well, Hela uses, swords as a weapon.
I mean, I realized that they were never, they must have realized, okay, we're never going to use these guys to their full potential in the movies. They're much more fleshed out in the comics. We always seem to use them to greater extent there.
And to be honest, I didn't really feel like much of a loss when they died.
The only one I really felt bad for was Volstagg, because I'm like, what's his name? He played Punisher that one time. Ray Stevenson, I think, playing Volstagg. I'm like, okay, that's some pretty good casting right there. He's the only one I'm genuinely gonna miss. The other two, they switch actors for the blonde guy, and I didn't even notice, so there's that. And yeah, I just don't know them enough. The biggest thing they ever did was to fight the Annihilator at the end of the first Thor movie, and they lose that fight.
Yep.
So there's just, on one level, I mean, man, there's not a mark against this film, but I wish that
it's Thor and the Thor series in general, where just The problem with them is that they could have been any random Asgardian. You wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I should feel more for them when they die in this movie, because I do feel like, oh shit, they're killing main characters, there's some stakes raising.
But they're not.
But they're not, like, it's not as big of an emotional punch. Like, when even I get a big, more emotional thing when Thor's hammer gets destroyed.
Yeah, because you get character development for that thing. He has a very special relationship with it, Nick.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be weird not seeing the Warriors 3 at all. I mean, I don't know what they do with Lady Sif anymore, but
to be honest, if they keep Valkyrie around, I'd be better off anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's I don't want to say there can only be one girl on the team or something.
No, but if I'm trading the Warriors 3 for Valkyrie, I'm going to take Valkyrie.
Yeah, I mean, if we have to have one or the other.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to take off that and Lady Sif counts her as separate, then fine, have them both. I don't care.
She's almost immediately more compelling than any of those characters.
She got character development.
So, man, I love this final fight, too. This final fight's
so
badass.
fucking epic.
The final fight's so fucking
first,
cool.
Let's talk about the penultimate running joke.
Yes, okay. So, this fight is awesome because they have Space Sakaar, and we got Bruce Banner on the spaceship. They're firing fucking fireworks. They're fighting on a rainbow bridge. There's a giant fucking wolf. There's just the Executioner with 2 fucking machine guns shooting people.
Des and Troy.
And Des and Troy. There's Thor fighting Hela with Ragnarok. He gets fucking super lightning powers. Like, it's all rad, and then, like, the spaceship with Loki's people and all the gladiators comes in for the final save, and we get to see Meek and Korg fight people too, and there's just thousands of things going on, and I'm like, yeah! And then we get, of course, we have the wolf, and it just won't die from conventional, like, fucking machine gun fire, because it's an undead wolf, or whatever, I don't know how it works. Anyway, Bruce decides, like, I'm gonna go down there, I got this. And he jumps down.
And Valkyrie's like, you're like a 125-pound scientist. What the fuck are you gonna do?
And when he enters in, you're expecting him to, like, you know, go in the Hulk and then land. So he doesn't turn on the Hulk, and Banner just lands on the onto the fucking rainbow bridge.
Like a squeaky ball, and it's hilarious. Oh my god.
So Travis just, like, burst into hysterical laughter in the theater.
I scrunched up in my chair. I was like,
and he wasn't the only one. There was a lot of people laughing.
Oh my god, it was terrible looking laughter. It was awesome.
God, that was funny. That was hilarious. And yeah, but no, he turns into the Hulk and he fights Fenris the Wolf. They go over a waterfall, so that's awesome. Like, I wish they didn't fight underwater so much because it was a little hard to see at certain points. Mm-hmm. But it was still pretty cool. Like, he still gets, like, bit almost in half by this giant wolf.
Yeah, technically, you want to talk about how why it's so hard to kill Fenris, because technically it's Hela's brother.
Mm-hmm. Well, it did feel like she had a more special relationship with him than even the Executioner. Like,
yeah, well, like in Norse mythology, at least, Fenris.
I'm surprised they didn't just replace Karl Urban with the wolf and have her talk to the wolf the whole time.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
Yeah, Karl Urban has a final act of redemption at the end where he can't sit out the battle anymore, and he decides, like, well, maybe people will recognize me for this, or even if not, I'll die as an honorable warrior.
Which is a good resolution to his story, nonetheless.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that we get to see the Scourge the Executioner standing on a pile of dead fucking undead skeletons firing machine guns, because that's awesome. There's so many things that are just visually super fucking cool. Mm-hmm. Like that point where he's dual wielding those guns. That's I think there's a comic strip that's almost exactly looks like that. And I always get a kick out of that.
Well, I just love how, like, Loki or Hulk is just beating the wolf's ass as it can, but it's in the water. And eventually, he looks like he might be getting a few hits in, but he's kind of not going anywhere. And he just ends up kicking the wolf off the waterfall. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
That works. And yeah, I mean, there was even that point where, like, I'm not doing get help. Like, we didn't even mention the get help thing, which we should have done in the non-spoiler thing, because
it's
like
in the trailers.
Yeah, but I do like the fact that we every once in a while get a reminder of why Loki hates Thor, because this is the thing we used to do. Remember this? I don't want to do that. Like, we're gonna do it. And he throws Loki, like, there was one thing, because I thought, like, oh, he's gonna trick him and, like, hit him or something, but he throws Loki into them like he's just a
bowling ball.
A bowling ball. It's like, it's degrading. Oh, not for me, it isn't. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably why you were insufferable to hang around.
True. Oh, they did have another side thing where it's like, oh, look, he's always been terrible. He's always been trying to kill us. I mean, one time he turned to a snake. He knows how much I love snakes. I'm like,
That was interesting. He knows how much I admire snakes. And then when I was looking down to really appreciate the snake's outer scaling, he went boo and then slapped me in the face.
No, he stabbed him. He said he stabbed him.
Oh, I thought he was slapped.
No, I'm pretty sure I heard stabbed.
Oh no, everyone was laughing too hard during the snake when he just mentioned snakes.
No, I'm pretty sure he said stabbed him.
The thing is, like, I want to go see this movie again, not just because it's really good, but I know I missed some jokes when people were laughing.
Because we had a very active audience.
Of course, we had a really active, like, someone was really enjoying some stuff up in the background, but they did not like the stingers.
No.
The stingers were very...
We had one person, like, behind us, like, narrating, like, everything that was happening. I was like, I'm gonna punch you soon.
Lame. Lame stinger. In his defense, the stingers weren't the best I've ever seen.
No.
They don't really add up to a whole lot. But as far as their ending resolution, yeah, you think like, okay, well, Thor just got stabbed in the fucking eye.
Yeah, that happens.
And you think to yourself like, okay, well, he finally gets his lightning powers under control because apparently the hammer only conducted his powers. And you think like, oh, well, this is the Deus Ex Machina that saves the day at the end.
You're gonna expect him. I expected the lightning to come down and he shows up all fresh and dandy, no eye missing and everything. No?
Nope, that's not how it works.
No?
Oh, also they play the Immigrant song for like the second time.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, man, I should have a problem with them using this song twice, but it's so fucking cool each time.
It's so fitting for like the feel this movie's going for. I'm like, nah, this is fine.
And he gets like the lightning blast, and it really starts to feel like the good part of a video game. Like, and not like the video game comparison is not bad in this scenario. I kind of like it.
Well, it's because we're comparing it to Ultimate Alliance, which was a great fucking video game.
So it's like, so Hela wakes up from the lightning blast, and she comes around, and then Loki's like, hey, hit her with another one of those fucking things. Like, I hit her with the biggest fucking lightning blast of all lightning blasts. There's no lightning blast bigger than that. And here she comes, she looks slightly perturbed. And it's like, ooh, well, I thought this was gonna, like, solve everything.
Yeah, but then he has a little flashback of what his father told him shortly after dying, was that you gotta remember that Asgard is not a place, it's a people.
Yeah, and so he's like, okay, she gets her power from Asgard, and she's never gonna get less powerful, she's only gonna get more powerful, so the only thing I can do is try and eliminate the source of her power. Yeah. And that means I gotta fucking take out Asgard. So they cause Ragnarok.
Well, the greatest thing is that Thor tells Loki to go cause Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. That's just so fucking amazing.
You know, it's so cool because it's like in the beginning of the movie, you're like, oh, okay, I totally get this. And it's like Ragnarok is inevitable. Yeah. Not because not even because it's like an inevitable prophecy sort of thing. It's just that like, in order to save everyone, Asgard needs to be destroyed. And it's almost understand why that was a myth for so long, because if you think that they knew about Hela for this long, they knew eventually she'd be a problem again. Yeah. So Asgard almost has to be destroyed just to save the universe rather than anything else.
Although, you kind of feel like Odin could have just said that. Yeah,
so this is another one of those moments where I'm like, Odin, what the fuck? How about you give us a more than a minute heads up that this super powerful being is going to come back. There's literally not enough time to do anything about it. I mean, I realize that they probably couldn't have done anything about it to begin with anyway, because she's so powerful. Yeah. But, I mean, I would have appreciated the try.
Well, I mean, if something else, they could have been like, oh, hey, guys, if a girl dressed in green with giant-ass horns comes through, don't try fighting her.
Yeah, just let that shit go, man. Just protect the women and kids. Yeah, Odin's an asshole.
I mean, we established that 2 movies ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it right now. He did not handle that right.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Look at the actor,
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
He's either a villain or no, he's just a villain. He's always a villain.
So yeah, they destroy with Surtur's help. They destroy Asgard, and I love the fact that like we got to let him finish it. Hulk, no, bad Hulk, bad Hulk.
Hit on the newspaper.
And even Hulk is just like,
but
a monster.
Demon.
That's basically why I exist. Like that's
Why
the
you
whole,
bring me?
That's the whole reason we like. Isn't that the reason you brought me here? Is to fight giant fucking wolves and monsters and shit?
Not that one. We're letting that one go.
For once in your life, don't smash. All right, fine.
Yeah, it's like he just grabs Thor and Valkyrie and just jumps onto the ship and they're out.
Yeah,
With the remaining Asgardians.
And so, Hela gets kind of taken out by Surtur, although we don't see her specifically die.
We do not.
So she's another easy one for me, like, you know, Hugo Weaving's death in Captain America, where, like, they could easily write them back in.
I'm okay with that.
I would like that too, because that would mean, hey, she would be underpowered this time.
Yep.
She wouldn't be as powerful. It'd be she'd be much more manipulative. She could be the new Loki. I don't know. I like her design enough to the point where I think we could do some interesting stuff with it. Let's start building an anti-Avengers. Let's start building the, the evil society or whatever that
whatever Marvel's version of it is.
They do have a version.
Oh, I'm sure
I don't remember what it is. Fuck.
The League of Supervillains.
Yeah,
like
it's
Marvel
it's their version of the Injustice League. I can't remember what it is. Something about destroyers. Yeah, I really like that. I like that they everyone that's left jumps on the ship because there's now so few Asgardians that can just jump the ship. Oh, we didn't talk about Idris Elba during this whole fucking movie review.
We did not, actually.
He's not in it a whole lot. He's basically there to just lead the resistance against Hela and the other side.
Kind of give Thor some updates from time to time.
Yeah.
I did like his line though when Loki shows up in the big ass ship and Heimdall's like, "I saw you coming." Yeah, of course. You did.
Well, of course you did. Whatever.
Loki's such a petty bitch.
And yeah, Loki actually, sticks around and is like, you know what? I feel like I'm gonna help you with this thing. And it's interesting because Thor is the leader. They crown him whatever, like king or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Loki is okay with, I guess, in an advisory role. And I guess he just took that to heart to like, I guess I have to learn how to grow and change too. Mm-hmm. So I like that. That leaves things open and interesting that we can go with his character, Thor being the leader and kind of like, with a new power set. The Asgardians are now nomads, so you can do stories of trying to find a new home planet or just adventures out in space. Like maybe they run into more problems, which they basically do at the very end.
Well, they don't even have any warriors left really. They have very few people that can fight left.
No, they're very vulnerable at this point.
They have Thor, Loki, Heimdall, and...
Well, they did show that while the people that were left were not warriors, they still, they could still fight. Like, they might not have been warrior class, but it seems like everyone in Asgard learns at least a little bit how to do self-defense.
Well, they even did show, when their backs were against the wall and, the zombie armor was fighting, even the, women were like, okay,
they started handing out swords.
Yeah, it's like, well, then I'm fighting because, duh, I have to.
Yeah, so it leaves them in a very interesting position to where what do we write for Asgardians after Asgard is gone? Mm-hmm. What do they do after Ragnarok? That's an interesting aspect of hey, what happens after the end of the world?
Well, typically, in actual Norse mythology, it's a rebirth after that. And this is, I guess, technically still a rebirth.
In a sense, it's a rebirth of a new voyage to a new home and a new life somewhere else. And I like Thor's fucking eye patch. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Another thing
because his eye didn't come back.
Another thing they kept from the trailers too, because that's a pretty neat, easy,
removal
because it's just a digital effect anyway. Mm-hmm. Probably on his eye when his eyes got gouged out, that they probably just had to just remove it and put a little blue lightning in there, and that was about it.
My biggest problem was okay, so Thor's first reaction is let's just go back to Earth. I'm like, you're not going to go invade Norway, are you?
Well, it's I do like that. Loki's I think that that might pose a problem. And
they don't really like me. Yeah,
but they love me.
But they love me.
And then Hulk's just no, Earth. Earth hate Hulk. I do like that Hulk is basically just tooling around with them, at least for a little while. Mm-hmm. He'll probably stick around until Avengers Infinity War, because I feel like that's probably where they'll probably lead right into this of what's happening.
Well, we have whatever happened in the Stinger.
Yeah, we have the two singers. One is the giant ship coming down. Some people are wondering like, hey, is that like someone from Thanos' crew? Is that Magnus? Is that some other people from like? I like to think that like, hey, since we're out in space now, can we meet Beta Ray Bill? Because that'd be amazing. You got a real easy excuse to just run into Beta Ray Bill. I would like it.
Okay.
And I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. I think this only was it Black Panther and then it's Infinity War, right?
Is that it?
I don't know. Is there another one in between that?
I thought there was something else, but maybe.
Oh no, Miss Marvel has to come first,
does
right?
it? Okay.
I'm pretty sure Miss Marvel's in there.
I wasn't sure if I was thinking of another movie or I was just misremembering when.
Sorry, Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Captain Marvel is before that.
Okay, I thought it might be counting Thor Ragnarok still. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so very, very fun. I mean, oh yeah, the other stinger is Jeff Goldblum after he's been dethroned by the Revolution. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, what do we call this?
Everyone did a good job.
Can't have a revolution without an evil dictator overthrow. So let's call this one a tie.
Nope.
Yeah, so, I mean, I hope they bring Hela back. There's not really a reason they couldn't bring her back. I mean, I think Kate Blanchett, I don't know if she enjoyed the role or not. She seemed to be having a shit ton of fun. Like, at least from what from what I got across from her acting, it was just like, hey, this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah. According to Wikipedia, actually it is only Black Panther.
Is it only Black Panther?
It looks like, from what this one says, it's Black Panther, then Infinity War is Part 1, then actually Ant-Man and Wasp, and then Captain Marvel.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, so there's not a lot of time in between this one and Avengers Infinity War, so they can probably just move right into that. Like, they might run into the Guardians basically, like, right after that fucking end stinger. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think we covered pretty much everything in the spoiler section.
I'm trying to think if there's anything we missed.
I mean, there's so many other, like, little small, like, call-outs and cameos and stuff like that. They're, you know, on Planet Scar itself, like, there's so much, like, random shit running, hauling around that's from other different Marvel properties and stuff. I like the Hall of, the Hall of Weapons and stuff, where they get the Eternal Flame and Surtur's helmet and stuff. Yep. I like that we see the Cosmic Cube still there.
That's our X there.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, like, Loki snagged that.
Oh, he almost had to have.
Yeah, he tips over this giant Infinity Gauntlet. Fake. Whatever. Like, half the shit in here is fake.
Mm-hmm. That was Hela did that.
Yeah, I know. She was kind of like, whatever, fake.
Ooh, that's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. She looked at the Tesseract, just like, that's cool, but that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, and I did like the fact that she did reveal, like, Odin's bullshit, too, of just, like, oh, you'll only like remembering the good part of, like, the benevolent. You don't remember, like, you don't like to remembering what you had to do to get here. Yeah,
it's like he likes what he has, but not how he got it. I think is her line.
I mean, we saw him be a benevolent ruler, but he had to be cruel to get there. Yep. So it's kind of like, I do like that line of, like, I'm not as strong as you from Thor, and when Odin is like, no, you're stronger. Like, that was a cool dad moment for me. Like, when, like, these characters are so felt kind of disconnected and distant throughout most of the movies.
He's a better dad in death than he was in life.
Well, I think he was the guy that realized he was very flawed and couldn't really let that, like, since he was a god, he couldn't let that, like, seep into the populace's mindset, I guess. He had to be infallible. He had to be always correct. And, like, I think he knew how deceitful he was by the end of it.
Right.
To the point where, like, remember that first, like, where he really did apologize to Loki a lot, like, in that first movie. It was just like, yeah, I fucked you over, sorry. This is, like, what I thought was the best deal at the time, and this didn't work out for you.
Yeah. Well, they even do have a really good moment too, like, right before he dies, where he does call them both sons.
Yeah, my two sons. Man, that was a pretty good, like, back and forth between Thor and Loki of just, like, I do remember how Father's death was your fucking fault. It was just, like, this deep resentment going on, but, like, I don't know. When
it's not like your fault that his father's dead, but also it's like, well, father's dead and you caused the end of the world, so yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, not looking good for Team Loki over there.
No.
But yeah, overall, still, man, what a fun movie. I'm actually like really jazzed. I want to go see it again at some point. Maybe I'll catch it again this weekend before I have to go into work. But I again, I'm very excited. Marvel, you done it again. You did it with a series that I thought you really couldn't do much with, and now I'm not only reinvigorated for the Thor movies. I'm really excited to see what the next Thor movie is gonna be.
Plus, the next movie is also Black Panther.
Oh boy, it's exciting. I mean, I guess that one's in 2018 though, right?
It is.
So 2017. This is the last Marvel film for 2017. Real strong finisher, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Way to finish out the year.
Yep, it means the only important movie left is Star Wars, right?
Disney killing it. Like, man,
Unless you want to count the other one.
Oh, that's right. You know what? I legitimately forgot about Justice League.
I told you I do the same thing. And you yelled at me last time.
Look, okay, straight up, Justice League, it won't be as good as almost any of these Marvel movies. It won't be even as good as Wonder Woman, which is actually pretty much like Wonder Woman's the only one that's actually gotten better than some of the Marvel movies, okay? Like, it's like, oh, Wonder Woman's definitely better than Thor the Dark World or Iron Man 2 or...
Sure.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it to rank it, but I'd put it up there, like, among the pretty good Marvel movies.
No, it's comparable to Captain America.
Oh, yeah. I would say the first Captain America is a pretty good comparison, actually. Not just in theme, but in, like, quality.
Yeah, no, it's quality all around, actually.
Yeah, all around. But yeah, this is another great installment for Marvel. It shows that they have a little more balls than I think anyone actually thought they might have.
Right, well, everyone always goes on about, it's like, oh, they have their, they've got their whole step process of how they make a movie, and they don't deviate from that. And it's like, well, they deviated, so fuck off.
Yeah, it's... I'm actually interested to see how people seem to be very receptive to this film already. Mm-hmm. I think people are digging it. I think Marvel has kind of found their niche with this whole, like, they're fun. That's where they're best at. We're better at being fun. So that's what we should do. We should be...
What we focus on.
That should be our... Like, we can do different stuff, but we should always be a fun ride at the movies to do that. Yeah. And that's just the feel of this overall universe. So that's just how it feels. The Fox seems to be doing the experimental shit, like, oh, we can make,
we'll make mutant horror movies.
We'll make mutant horror movies. We'll do a Old West movie like Old Man Logan. They'll do really weird shit and see what sticks at the wall, but like...
And I actually give all more power to them for that one.
It's a bolder strategy, but it also leads to, like, when you try and hit the home run every time, you do swing and a miss, and you run the risk of striking out. But that has its own risk and reward system that I do at least respect it.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully DC finds their niche somewhere.
I mean, it doesn't make me like Apocalypse anymore, but I do respect it. I do respect their approach. Yeah, it does make me appreciate, what we think of as the dirty term now, the Marvel formula of just like, I don't know. I've been reading comics for a long time, and this changes a lot of stuff about Thor in 2 hours than they've done in 20 years of Thor comics. It changes up a lot of status quo shit that I'm super interested to see where this goes. With that, should we just bring this one to an end?
Yeah.
Travis, I don't know. I need a little help getting out of this outro. I need a little help. Let's do get help. Okay. Let's do help. Okay.
So embarrassing.
Help! My co-host. He's dying. My co-host is dying. No.